All right, guys, so we're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin here too, because obviously the death spike is showing. Now, here's the first thing I want to show you is this is where the first prediction came in. We've been going right across that line, 1, 2, 3. So we started with, if you recall, about 22% odds. Then we jumped to about 30, 35. Now we're up to 44.26%. This is getting to be a reality here. So the first thing I want to show you, and I do want to segue here, so I'm gonna start evangelizing here by the time this video is over with, because I got a lot to get off my chest here to talk about you spoiled Americans and what you're about to live through here. So, okay, so this is basically the drop that's predicted, and so right through the middle, obviously this trend line is going to come into heavy play. So will we hit that and pierce it? Oh, absolutely we will. And again, there's an Anubis call, one right there, one right there. So we're going to visit this area with absolute certainty. There's a dual AI line right below that. But as I said, we'll hit that, probably bounce up a little bit, and then oh God, and then we're going to go right through it. So we have to get, and then we're going to see much, much lower than that. So if the whole rest of the market, now that I've been using the magic 70% range, is probably going to pan out, then you're probably going to see about 60 to 65% for Bitcoin, and or it could get massively, markedly worse than that. But just I haven't pre-done this, so I'm just supposing out loud. But I would, out of curiosity, since I'm running my mouth here, just want to run this down about 60% and see if anything familiar pops up. There's 45, there's 50. Uh-oh. There's 70, there's 65. Right in the 20 to 21 range, right in that range, right down here in these prices we've discussed. So there you go. So it's going to take a while to get there. Now, the reason I show you this, and I know a few of you are probably thinking, but, Bitcoin isn't going to go down because everything else is. Sit tight. I'm going to dismantle that theory for you. So, all you know my stories, and you know that I lived in the Philippines, and you know that I had nothing, and I lived in a garage basically. I lived in a two-car garage that had nothing. I was surrounded by nothing. So I'm going to come at you a little different with the same story, and I'm going to explain the experience of living in the Philippines in a land of nothing, because it's about to come to America. And I'm going to try to bring this full circle if I can keep my thoughts together as to why this matters and why this is pertinent to Bitcoin. So stacking up stories here, the last little thing I went off on, I told you guys about how we in this group are an elite group. I mean, we have an understanding, we speak a language that the rest of the world really largely doesn't speak. We're 1% of 1% of the world. We're pretty cool. We're the coolest kids in the room, but that doesn't help you when it's time to survive. It just simply does not. So there's the people, and there's gonna be a class division, and I'm actually on the good side of the class, and most of you guys are probably not. I'm not. I don't own a single Bitcoin, nor would I ever, simply because of my understanding of who is actually behind this. Not for me. No, thank you. No, sir. No, ma'am. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like to live in a world with nothing, because it's coming. You can see bits and pieces of this. Academically, you can probably understand, yeah, it's going to get bad in America, but let me tell you how bad it's really going to get. Third world level shit. Third world problems. America is not coming back from this. And I don't give a damn if Trump's in the office or anything else. It's not coming back from this. Point blank, full stop, period. Not coming back from this. So here's what's going to end up happening. So we've already witnessed in this group, we had a couple thousand subscribers. We're now down to a handful. We're now down to, a couple hundred subscribers, actual paying subscribers. And I told you guys this is going to happen. And times weren't even really what you would consider tough at that point in time. Just it was starting to get a little bit challenging. And we knew, and I knew, and I told you we were going to lose some good people. And we lost a lot of good people because they did exactly what I predicted was going to happen. I'm not a stranger to what happens with life arbitrage, because lived it myself many times, witnessed it in 30 years of profession in foreclosure investing. I got this. I know this book and page how this works. So with Bitcoin or with crypto in general, here's the problem with this, or here's how this is going to play out. So there's going to be a class of people who are ultra rich, where it really isn't their survival money. They're going to buy a crap ton of this, and they're the same crowd that's going to buy gold, silver stuff because that's money that they don't feed themselves with. You, on the other hand, and I mean about 99% of you guys that are listening to me, I can think of about three that don't fit this category. The rest of you guys, if it gets bad enough over a year, 2, 3 years to follow, and I'm not suggesting it will be that bad for that long, but it could. How many of you could go 3 years without capitulating and finally cashing in your chips? That's kind of a cold chill, isn't it? And so let me explain how this is going to work in real world practicality because we've never talked about it in this way. So, in real world practicality, here's how this works. You guys are in here and you're like, nope, not me. I'm going to buy crypto. I'm going to get my lottery ticket. I'm going to be a millionaire and everybody else is going to come and, be my maids and tend my gardens and my mansion and whatever. It's a pretty picture to paint yourself, but that's not the reality of what's going to end up happening. Even if you are rich, you're going to be rich behind a gate and it's going to be a life of paranoia you can't possibly imagine. But it's still a better life than what's on the other side of the gate. So let me explain to you. And if you've heard me muse out loud about what a pain in the ass it is to live in the Philippines, nice place when you're in the money areas, but if you're living there like I was for 2 years, you experience lack that you just simply cannot internalize. And I think you're all going to go through this. So just remember that I told you this, and I'll try to do my best to explain this to you. So from a Western standpoint, let's take a look at it this way. So when I went there, first I shipped everything I owned over there, but I came short with a few things. One thing I needed an electric battery powered or plug-in beard trimmer because I have a beard. So, yeah, you can go get your hair cut for 50 cents or whatever, but I just want to do it myself in my bathroom. So I went looking for a beard trimmer. Now, uh, that was a bit of a problem because first of all, most Filipinos don't have a beard, whatever. They have impeccable hair, whatever, but they always go to the barber shop and get their stuff done. So there's no goddamn beard trimmers. There's no, those little Norelco things you can get for 20, $30 as a kit with the little clips on them and the different little forks and stuff. You can get them all day long on Amazon for anywhere from $22 on up to probably as much as you want to pay. They're not to be had in the Philippines anywhere at any price, practically. It took me 6 months to finally locate one, and I found one in an Ace Hardware. Now, again, I said you can get them all day long. The one I'm using right now at my house cost me $35, and it's actually quite nice. And but the one I bought in the Philippines, I paid $168 for 10 years ago. No better, no worse. In fact, probably not as good as the one that I got here at the house now. The reason why is because of duties, imports, taxes, supply lines, chain. And we got what you don't, you're going to pay for it. And it was in an Ace Hardware, for God's sake. But I couldn't find anywhere in the city of Manila, a population triple New York. Couldn't find it anywhere. So here's what I'm leading up to is this. You're going to be literally just pillaged from every direction. Lack is so these bridges that have been run into. There's been two, and I think three bridges now that have been taken out. Those are supply line bridges. So little by little, our supplies, our tchotchkes are being cut off from China, little by little. And sooner or later, finding a car part is going to be hard. Finding trimmers, just finding the damnedest things. It's just insidiously annoying to live in lack. And none of you have ever really experienced it. I'm hungry. I love it when a Westerner says they're hungry. Like, you don't know what hunger is. You don't know what hunger is. You don't know what lack is. Even the poorest American is doing better than a mid-level person in Colombia, or a mid-level person certainly in Cuba, or even in the Philippines, down in the rows in the Philippines. And so you don't even know, but you're gonna know by the time 2 more years clicks by, you're gonna see an existence or live through an existence that your grandparents and great grandparents would be able to identify with, but wouldn't even be able to identify to the magnitude of what it's about to hit us. Because the Dust Bowl days and all the stuff that you read in books and Grapes of Wrath, that's nothing compared to what's coming. I hate to sound very, Armageddon-y here, but the truth of the matter is you can see these things shaping up. It's just very hard to mentally adapt to accepting them because you've never lived through this stuff. So let me take this back to Bitcoin and why this matters. So again, I said in a video in the past, we're an elite group. We're 1% of 1%. Well, okay, so we've stockpiled all this crypto. What are we going to do with it? Sooner or later, we're going to have to survive. We're going to have to pay property taxes. We're going to have to put gas in the car. We're going to have to put baby diapers on the baby's butt. We're going to have to put food on the table. We're going to have to sell some of this stuff. Who's going to buy it? What's price is going to be? Where's the market? Do we have a market? Here's the problem with this. This is why I tell you, you need to have a plan B, because if you're thinking that you're going to get into crypto and crypto is going to solve these problems, it will eventually, but not right through the middle of this. And so the other 99%, 99.99% of the world doesn't want to hear anything about crypto in the middle of lack and want. What they want is they want the only thing they understand, which is cash, which is rapidly losing its value. So either that or trading, a little hooch or some cigarettes or, we'll get into that here eventually too. There's no doubt about that. I predicted that's just natural thing. People always get to the barter system as like the last thing, the thing of last resort. And we're actually already seeing that. That's why I'm picking up all these car deals that I'm picking up. People are getting desperate and they're selling off all their toys right now. So uh, what's going to end up happening is with this market. So the piece that I want to plug in for you here is if anyone tells you that Bitcoin's going to skyrocket when everything goes to shit, it's not going to happen because I've already painted the picture for you and already explained to you there's not enough people. The companies like BlackRock and whatever, Vanguard, they'll jack it up, sure. But the people around you, no, they're not flooding into Bitcoin because first of all, they have no understanding of it, and they're not going to sit down and read a book or take a course on crypto trading when their lives are falling apart. They're going to get very feral and very immediate and very basic. And what that means is gather and circle the wagons, stick your money in the mattress. Remember mattress money? I talked about mattress money before. My grandmother was one of those people. Mattress money during hard times. They don't put it in the bank, they put it in the mattress. My grandmother was literally one of those people. When my grandfather, some of you don't know this story, when they were middle age or they were 20, 30 years old during World War II. My grandma was a war widow, married my grandfather, simple barber in Everly, Iowa, and she had, when he wanted to start a business, he said, "Oh, Aunt Evelyn, I'd like to be able to buy some land or do whatever." And she goes, "Well, we got the money." He goes, "Where's that?" She cut open the mattress, and Grandpa about shit his pants because they'd been sleeping on a whole bunch of money. This story comes down from my father who told me this, but they've been sleeping on money because she didn't trust the banks. And so she had it in her thing, and that's what's going to happen with everybody. Nobody's going to want to put their money in the banks because back then, they would shut you off the bank. They would just close the teller window. Now they'll just electronically do it. You don't even have to go to the bank to find out you can't get your stuff. So what goes around comes around. So people are not going to want to put their money in banks. So everybody's going to be hoarding up. So they're not going to want to put it in a crypto exchange. Very few of them, statistically very few of them. They're going to want to circle the wagons and keep everything in the house with the guns and the butter and the, whatever, and they're not going to want to share it. And they're going to hoard it and they're going to, keep the window shades down and looking out the peephole to make sure no one's going to come in and steal their shit. People are going to get really feral. And that does not play in to a Bitcoin strategy that Max Kaiser is saying that everybody's going to flip to Bitcoin. He's wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong. And because if you understand how feral people work or how scared people are, they go to their most basic elemental understanding of survival. Gather that which is important close to you and don't let go of it. Investing is not part of feral behavior, never has been in the history of humanity. So understand that. So are these prices coming down? You goddamn right they are. So just understand that you got to be positioned for this. Let the system work itself out. We'll get through the backside, but please, if anything, if you understand what I'm telling you here, what I'm trying to tell you in two simple things is get your positions picked for when this thing goes down. Have a plan B to survive in the meantime.